Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you how to put together some basic cards with no stamps. So if I'm in a hurry or if I just don't have a lot of time to put a card together, I like to use postcards that have designs already done on them to make, and then I'll use coordinating paper and ribbon and other designer paper to go with the design that's on the postcards. So here's a few that I've made. I mean, how cute are these? So I think they're fun. These are going to go for a local coffee shop in Durango. So there's a few I need to finish up, but here's a couple that I did already finish. And you can see the embellishments. And I put some wording and I highlighted flowers. And the inside I leave blank so that the person that buying it can use it for any occasion, whether it be a birthday, for a fellow friend or family member that has a pet, or just because they like pets and animals. So I thought this would be fun to show you how to do. So if you don't feel like you can stamp or die cut or anything like that, or you just don't even want to do that, here's a way of being creative without a lot of cost, and it gives you some personality. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got my next sets here ready. So we're going to work with this little cutie pie. I mean, how cute is that? So what I've done is I pre-cut my layers already. So this is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and this is 1.5 by, I want to say 6. I'm going off memory, sorry. And then I tore the one edge, okay, for effect. And this is typically a Halloween paper, so I thought it would be fun to show that it doesn't have to be for Halloween. You could find different artwork that has similar colors that will correspond with this. So I thought it would be fun to make more of a fall feel out of this card. And then highlight some of the blue that's in that with this layer. And they all complement each other very well, I think, and really make this layer pop. And then this layer will get put onto this cardstock, which is slightly just bigger, to frame it out. I like to do that. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to do an aging technique on this edge just to enhance these colors a little bit more and give it a vintage feel. So I'm just going to use my dauber and my walnut stain, and I'm going to go around all the edge. It's going to be very soft. You don't want it to be that prominent. It's for effect more than anything. And I'm also going to do this effect on my top layer. And I'm just going to really smudge that in. And even though it has a gloss finish, this stain will take. And it doesn't come off. So it will work. Now you're not going to really see it so much around here, but that's okay. And how cute. See, and then it just makes it pop that much more when you have the stain. Okay. So let's go ahead and get layers stuck down. See if you can see. Oopsie. Okay. And this is like a chocolate brown, and it has a little bit of texture. Hopefully you can see that. So just one layer of dimension. Okay. Let's get this stuff out of the way. Let's open up our card. And I will fold it back on itself to help it lay flat so that I can make sure my papers lay straight with my cardstock. And I want this particular line on this side. Since I have this layer going here, I don't want to take away from that. Okay. Now we're going to do this layer, and I've already torn that edge. And I want this torn edge facing to the left, because if I do it this way, facing to the right, and we go to put this layer on, you're barely going to see it. So that's the reasoning we want it to go this way, because when we layer it back on, you're going to get the full effect of that torn edge, and that's what we want. All right. Now, to give this even more of a 3D look, I'm going to add dimensionals on the back of this to give it a little lift. So I'm going to use these guys. And actually, now that I think about this, hang on a second. We are going to do our string first. So we're going to do something similar to this, where we're going to wrap around. So before we put our dimensionals on, I want to put the string on first so that the dimensionals don't get in the way of me putting the string on. So we're going to decide. I have this hemp cord I like to use. And you can see I've already used one section, but I am probably going to use this guy here. That seems to pop off the card nicely. So just about used all of that. So when you pull it off and it's all kinked up, just run your hand down it a few times, and that'll help straighten that out and get that kink out. And we're gonna see, I just gonna do a knot. I'm not gonna do a bow, so I'm gonna end it about here. So I need a little bit of a tail. So I'm gonna hang on to it and then come over at an angle, come down at an angle, putting it under my finger to hold it in place. Come back out, down, and back up. And then I'm gonna pull this over. I'm gonna go through all sections of string, create a loop, and then come through that loop. Then move it down where I want it. Tie it off. Make it as tight as you can. I need to do a little shifting, so just move it where you need it. Come on. Okay. Then trim off our excess here. So I want the strings to lay this way. Throw those threads in our little pop-up trash can. Now we can put our dimensionals on. And we can go right over the top of our strings. It's not going to hurt anything. And it'll actually help keep that string in place and not let it go anywhere. So I'm going to do it in each corner. Then in the middle I go slightly up. And then I will come over here on the sides and do the same thing. And then there, we have our slightly lifted top layer. And look how quick we made this. We made this in less than probably 10 minutes. And that's, oh jeez, sorry guys. Did that in less about 10 minutes. And we got a great card, great effect. So we're gonna go ahead and peel these top layers off. I'm gonna give a good smushing. And then just go over and peel those layers up. Okay, now just gonna lay it over the top and center it. And give it a good push. Now I'm gonna do the inside, and we're gonna do the same thing like we did on the front, and we are gonna age the edges. Now you don't have to do this, but I feel like it's just a nice finishing touch to the inside of the card. So that's why I do it. It carries that antique look throughout the design, but definitely not a required thing if you don't want to do this step. I think it just finishes it off nicely. And if you have old Christmas cards that you want to recycle, you could cut the fronts of those off and maybe cut out portions of the design and then create a new card with it. If you or just don't feel like you're that crafty of a person that can stamp or hand draw or anything like that, if that's another option, is recycling old Christmas cards into new ones. And I will do a video on that. I think that's a fun idea, so I can show you some old cards that I have and how to recycle them into new things. just going to center it in here. And we're all done. Now, if you have the stamp set, this is completely optional too. You can even make pre-made labels to put on the back to show people who made the card. I have a stamp that I like to use. And it has my name stamped on it. There we go. How cute is that? So now I want to take some glitter and I'm going to actually highlight these flowers just to show them off a little bit. And then while it's drying, I can move on to other cards. And you don't need a lot, just the slightest little bit adds. And then you can even do little dots around it just to give it a little more personality. And how cute. There you go. So tell me what you think, and if you have other ideas that you want me to show for you, please feel free to give me a comment. Thank you. Bye.